Well, here I am about to finish up a job putting 3 new hoses on my tractor, and these, I was just looking at them last summer. Had to put one of these top hoses on, one of those hoses there, and I thought, I got to looking at those underneath that go under the tractor, and I said to myself, dang, I hope you don't have to replace those. Well, as it turns out, when I'm busted, I was walking down to had driven my tractor down to a burn pile back on the, not too far on the back, about halfway back, and I noticed a trail that looked, even though it'd been kind of raining, misting, I noticed a trail that didn't look like rain, looked like oil. So last year I had trouble with one of these leaking, and this is on the mechanism for the front end loader, and I noticed one of those leaking. I tightened it up a couple of times and it finally quit leaking. And but anyway, I saw the oil on the ground, and I had the mower hooked up, the brush hog hooked up, and I was just fixing to strike out mowing, and I would have probably burned, I don't know, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 pump up, who knows what it is. So usually when I'm fixing to do something real dumb or dangerous or something along those lines, the Lord taps me on the shoulder and says, you may well not want to do that. I don't know whether he says he probably doesn't have to say because that typically means you're trying to get your thoughts together, and I imagine he has his thoughts together pretty well. So I am very tickled that he showed me the oil pedal, oil stream, just a little of oil on the ground. So I went ahead, only one of these was leaking. That was this green one with the green end on it. And but then that one there, it wouldn't be long. I don't know whether you can see that or not, but it wouldn't be long because that one's chewed up too. And this main hose, the thicker hose, now when I had them made, he had to make them out of all thick material. But the thicker hose comes apparently, and I don't know that the workings, inner workings of the Kubota necessarily, but I would say since this is your reservoir back here for your hydraulic fluid, then your pump is right here. So I'm going to assume that this is the main supply of hydraulic pressure for this stick. It comes up in this stick, in this junction box here, and then supplies everything. So, and the 2 of them that are coming back this way, the one I've got painted orange, and by the way, I color coded them orange and orange simply because I didn't want to mess those things up. I didn't want to cross thread them. I mean, not cross thread them, cross them up. And so that one's orange. I painted the other one up in there white. That's way up in there. So one of them is a 45 here, 45. The other one's a 90 up in there. They work the rear. Apparently, they work the up and down rear rear lift on the tractor, but everything is supplied from there. I'm a little surprised that these would be coming back, and it could be that's the rear hydraulics. It may be that instead of, you know what, I bet it is, because that is my lever, I think, for the rear hydraulics. Could be that this is running the rear hydraulics, which I have never ever used. I've got it, but I've never used it. Anyway, just want to show you. It was a job. The main part of it is just, as you can see, it's a nasty mess in my garage, in my barn. Had to blow about 10 years of crap all out of it. And I want to also show you that somebody suggested last time when I was putting changing my tires, and these tires are, I'm 5'10", these tires are almost 5 feet tall, probably. And when I was changing that tire, somebody told me I needed to do a better job of blocking the tractor up. So I used some pretty good cribbing there, some 4x4s. I never throw anything away. If I cut off a 4x4 and I've got a 2-foot piece or a 1-foot piece left, I keep it, and this is one reason. You never know when you're going to need something like this. So I put the jack on it to jack up the axle, put the cribbing under it. I already had the cribbing up to a certain point, and then put that under there, and then dropped it down. I've got this end, in fact both, actually that tire is off the ground too, so the whole rear end's off the ground. Didn't really mean to do it that way, but the way I had to crib it, that's just how it is. So I will try to manhandle that tire back over here and put that on. And that's I don't know, that tire probably weighs a couple of 100 pounds, maybe more than that. It's a heavy dude, and I have to get it lifted up to fit in those studs. Typically I'll do it. I might have to call for help because I've had some issues in the last couple of weeks with something I lifted and shouldn't have lifted, and kind of hurt myself. So I might have to get a son-in-law or something to come over and help me. But get that tire up there, and we'll be back in business after I put some fluid in it. I bet you that thing is low, and boy, thank you Lord, it didn't get so low that it hurt anything. Because it was still running, it was still spewing, had plenty of fluid. It looked as though it had plenty of fluid. So I'm gonna try to get this tire back on, and I'll show you that. Not gonna show you me putting it on because it's just gonna be a struggle. You don't want to see an old man struggle. I'm just absolutely as filthy as I can possibly be. So, but that's good. Dirty's good. Dirty's good. My wife asked me, how do you get your knees so dirty? I said, I'm just praying all the time. She said, yeah, right. Anyway, although I am a lot. Let me put her back together. But this, well, it was a pretty good job. It's a half-a-day job for me. Somebody else might could do it in a tractor place. They could have had this thing done in an hour probably, but not me. And it took me an hour to go get the hoses made. $200 for 3 new hoses. $200. Usually they're about $50 a piece. A couple of these are all 3 pretty long. One of them's a little longer than the other. One of them 82 inches long. So, hopefully I got her done. Hopefully I didn't bore you. Okay, tires back on. It was a kind of a struggle. Probably, I bet I put 1.5 gallons of hydraulic fluid in it. It was low. It had been leaking. I can't afford to do that, so I got to be more vigilant. One of the reasons I didn't notice it is because I am parking my tractor behind my building now and not in the barn anymore. If it's in the barn, I can see a drip or two. Out there I can't, so I need to put some cardboard or something on it from time to time, or just check the fluid. I mean, I checked the fluid, but it was real hard to see. And let me just show you what I did. The fluid was real hard to see because it was a shiny silver dipstick. And so I spray painted it in flat black. And now, I don't know whether you can see it or not, but I can see the mark. I could not see it on that shiny chrome dipstick. So anyway, I'll put the cap back on. It's got a little vent on it, and we're done. I used an impact wrench, tighten these down, and all the hoses are routing well. I'm probably going to come in here because it's still rubbing. This is a gas tank here, and it's rubbing on the gas tank as it goes past it, rubbing also here on this orange part. And I need to put something. I'll put something around here, like they make a shield like that, and but I've already got these hoses on there now. I'd have to pull them off I'll do something. I'll wrap them with tape. I'll do something to try to protect them from rubbing up in these rub spots, and that'll help them last longer. Because one of them, even though it did not bust, it had some big rub spots on it. It was down to the wire, literally. That's the wire right there. Steel belt or whatever it is. So we're done, and got a mess to clean up underneath. I put a feed sack under there to kind of catch it, and man, That feed sack is saturated. Blew out a bunch of stuff. It's just a mess. I need to power wash it. We're through the winter now. Hopefully through most of the mud, so I'll get some of the mud off of it. So I need to power wash it and get it there, get the old boy clean. But he's ready to go. Ready to hit the road, or hit the field, as it were. And we're done. Shoot, I talked too much. Somebody told me one time, made a comment, "Dude, you need to take a breath before you start doing your videos. You're out of breath, man." Well, you know what? You're probably sitting in your mama's basement, and I'm out here working. So, whatever. We're gone.